Preparation is always key when it comes to facing any enemy in a JRPG. Of course, there's always the age-old words of, it's not that hard if you do this, or it's not that hard if you have this equipment, or it's not that hard if you have these characters in your party. Trust me, I get that. Almost no enemy or boss in the game is hard if you know what you're expecting or have the inside scoop of how to beat them, or you just so happen to go with a build that was easy to deal with that particular enemy. Dread comes when you fight an enemy for the first time and you have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on or how to counter them. So, in a sense, every enemy on this list is easy, but that still doesn't make them any less annoying or irritating to fight, especially when you have to make do with what you have. So here we are with 4 JRPG monsters I hate fighting. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment and hit the like button. And of course, if you don't find any enemy on this list to be quote unquote not that hard, you know, just go ahead and let me know. Anyway, let's jam. The Reaper, Persona games. The Reaper and Persona games are one of the most powerful enemy types that you can run into. They have high attack stats, incredible defenses, and will more than likely spam you with death attacks that will make your head spin. You can run into the Reaper easily, and it's clear as the night sky that you should not be fighting this enemy until you are a higher level or near towards the end of the game. The Reaper, as the name suggests, is quite deadly and will tear your party asunder if you are not prepared, or even if you are prepared. It's easy to avoid running into a Reaper as you just have to not stand on the floor in a dungeon for too long. Hell, in some Persona games, the game warns you that a powerful enemy, the likes of which you have never seen, is in a chest, or a party member will say to you, there are a lot of items around here, the game just auto-saved, something is about to go down. Okay, in Persona games there is no auto-save and it doesn't work like that, but I think you get what I was going for. The sole reason the Reaper gets a spot on this list is because I lost 10 freaking hours of game time in Persona 3. Back when I was first starting with JRPGs, I was playing Persona 3 completely and utterly blind. I got called into the living room by a family member and put the game down in a random floor of the Tartarus. Didn't even bother to pull up the menu. I just thought, meh, the monsters on this floor can't touch me, so it's not that big of a deal. Coming back to the game, I was in utter shock and disbelief that the game was back on the start screen. I was in despair when I realized I hadn't saved the game in the last 10 hours. I was trying to blame anything and everyone onto why this could have happened. I was dead set on dropping Persona 3 after that, but I picked the game back up. It was at this time I developed an unnatural urge to save after every little thing I do in the game, even if the game just auto-saved. Bravo, Reaper, you actually taught me an invaluable lesson the hard way. Malboro, Final Fantasy. Malboro. Freaking Malboro. There's always that one enemy I hate running into when playing a Final Fantasy game, and that monster is none other than a Malboro. These things are, in my opinion, the most dangerous monsters in the Final Fantasy mythos. Well, they certainly aren't on paper. I mean, they're just common creatures and their stats aren't anything groundbreaking in almost any Final Fantasy game, but the things the Malboro subject you to is quite possibly the worst in my eyes. The Malboro is a repulsive eyesore plant tentacle monster. Just looking at this thing gives me the creeps. But the worst thing is the fact that this thing's breath is so bad, it will cause a plethora of negative status elements to your party. Just imagine that. Someone's breath being so bad, so vile, so putrid, so absolutely repulsive that it causes you poison, blindness, confusion, putting you to sleep, and depending on what Final Fantasy game you're playing, it can cause other ailments as well. The Malboro's signature bad breath attack is just nothing to take lightly, especially for the ill-prepared. What makes this attack worse is that it targets the entire party, an AoE attack that can cripple your entire party. I really grow attached to the characters when I'm playing a JRPG, so it just pains me to run into a Malboro randomly when I'm playing a Final Fantasy game and get hit by this attack. I just have to sit there and watch in despair as my party slowly turns on each other, killing one another because of the confusion, or slowly dying because they're asleep with the poison. It just sucks to watch. The Malboro is solely responsible for me adapting the practice of always carrying at least 3 of each status healing items in my inventory at all times. I really hate these things so freaking much. As a matter of fact, guys, give me 1 second. I got some mail bearer hunting to do. You mail bearers are a blight on this world. It's time to wipe you things from existence. Hey, we didn't do anything to you. You just can't come into our home and start killing us. Tough breaks. This is how it has to be. I'm sorry, is there a problem here? Yes. Yes, there is. You know what, guys? I'll take care of that later. Let's move on. Metal Slime, Dragon Quest. I would say about 8 times out of 10, there's always a JRPG that comes with a monster type that's very rare to run into, but if you defeat it, they bestow upon you a ludicrous amount of money, experience points, skill points, and whatever else have you. In Persona, you had Golden Hands and Treasure Demons. In God Eater, you have an Abaddon, and in Dragon Quest, you have Metal Slimes. Jesus Christ, in my playthrough of Dragon Quest XI, I truly had a hard time killing Metal Slimes. The thing about these types of monsters is that they have a special property that makes them almost impossible to kill instantly, or they run away from you after 2 turns max, or they're strong to or immune to most attacks in the game. With Metal Slimes, I would run into these things at the worst possible time, and I was woefully unprepared to fight them. In Dragon Quest XI, characters can learn skills that help damage metal monsters more easily. I made sure to always have one character with one of these skills equipped, but the problem was the damn thing would always run away from me before I had a chance to defeat it. I know this is the purpose of these kinds of monsters, because if it was easy to find and kill these types of things, you could break the game with gaining a whole bunch of experience and levels early. Some people might just do that though. Run around the area and farm these type of monsters before they move on to the next session. I like to have a challenge in my playthrough when I'm playing a JRPG, so I won't deliberately make myself too powerful, but I will take out anything that's standing in my path. So whenever a Metal Slime would pop up, I would try to take it down to gain some extra experience, but these things kept running away from me. I know I probably had the wrong party to deal with them and I could have been better prepared, but these types of monsters just aren't easy to deal with. And yes, the purpose are for them to be hard to kill, but damn it, I just hate when I know I almost have a Metal Slime defeated and on its next turn it just runs away. It just stings. For Clamlin, God Eater. A lot of people are about the Monster Hunter life when it comes to playing hunting style games, but for me and some other people, we live and breathe the God Eater franchise. These games have you hunting down huge creatures called origami, and these things can range from small and vicious origami like a Orgatail to a huge menacing origami like a Vajra. It's fun to hunt down and fight these origami. They all have their strengths and different attack patterns that will keep you engaged in a heated battle. There is one origami that I really can't stand having to fight, and that is the origami known as the Boar Clamlin. This scorpion-like creature is an absolute trip for me to deal with. As always, preparation is key, so if I had the right gun and melee weapon equipped, any origami is rather easy to deal with. But this wasn't the case when I first dived into the God Eater games with God Eater 1 and 2. The Borg was the bane of my playthrough. Anytime I ran into this thing, I just cringed. Borg by himself was a pain, but when he was rocking with other large origami, it was a royal pain in my ass. And back when the God Eater games were on the PSP, it was hard to keep 2 large origami separate because of how small some of the maps were. When this thing was enraged, its attack animations were so fast, it nearly required perfect blocking at the right moment to survive. As with any origami or monster on this list, if you have the right gear, then party, it becomes easier. And yeah, I know for anyone who's actually played God Eater games from start to finish, and you know, not just play for a few hours and put the game down, there are other origami that are even worse to fight, faster and have a ton more HP. But for me, anytime the board came up on a story mission or even a free mission, I made it my personal vendetta to wipe these things from existence. Good riddance, Borg, whenever I run into you. And there you have it, 4 JRPG monsters I hate fighting. Now there are plenty more I could name since I've played so many JRPGs, but these are the ones that had the most impact to me personally. I still to this day absolutely hate fighting them. Granted, I know how to deal with them, but it still sucks fighting them nonetheless. What monsters in JRPGs do you guys hate fighting? Is there maybe a boss you can't stand, or even a type of monster that gives you a run for your money? I want to know all about it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, help me out by hitting that like button. And if you want to keep up with me, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter or join my Discord. It's not all that active, but if that's your thing, it's there. Anyway, I got some Marlboro to take care of. Now that I think about it, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad about going to their home and just hunting them down. Maybe I should just back off. Either way, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.